Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Jaron Geyser and I create content for central Pennsylvania fishermen and just fishermen all over the East Coast. Today we got a little bit of a tackle talk for you. Today I am going over my top #1 fishing lure color of all winter. I fish a lot when it comes to cold water and fishing the Susquehanna River and some of my local lakes around whenever the water temp is below 45 degrees. And when I'm out there on my boat and I look in my tackle box and I have to decide what color I'm going to be throwing, it's going to have something with a little bit of red and some with a little bit of orange. Stick around. Today we are talking about red and orange baits and how that can affect your fishing in the winter. Stick around. It's going to be a good one. Pretty much that temperature the whole way through.
Get that tail, that famous duck. On that old Berkeley popper, man. Dang, another nice one.
So red. Why red? Why orange? Why these crazy colors? Because you look in the water, you look in most of your water in your local area, and you're not seeing these absolutely crazy, let me show you another one, absolutely crazy red colors. So why? Why throw them? Well, if you didn't really grow up fishing a lot, or if you've never really taken note, a lot of the times whenever, you know, late fall comes around, or at least in central Pennsylvania, late fall comes around, crawfish turn a tinge of red or orange depending on your state, depending on what kind of crawfish you have in your local waters. But in the Susquehanna River, I found that they turn more of a I'd say a cross between orange and really dark red. The main reason why crawfish change that color is because they live in clay later in the year. Whenever you know the water temps get colder, right around 45 degrees, depending on your local water, they start burrowing into clay, and most of the clay, at least in my area, is more of like a burnt red orangey tinge. If you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you guys know that I love throwing the DT series. This color in particular, the dark crawl daddy, I think it's called, or dark brown crawl, I believe is actually what it's called. I will link everything in the description, all the baits I will show you guys, and all the fun stuff. It'll be all linked down in the description. If you're looking for any of this stuff, it'll be linked down there. But this color in general mimics my crawfish to pretty much a T. They do have a little bit of red bottom, but they do have brown on them. They have a lot of brown on them. I don't know what it is about it, but I will say when that darker water comes around, whenever we get those, you know, late fall downpours, rain, and that water turns murkier, the more electric red I go. Clear water, whenever it's cold clear water, I'd stick to more of that orange, burnt orange, you know, brown color with a little bit of red. But whenever the water gets dingier, whenever we get into, you know, later fall, whenever we get snow melt off, if it snows and then warms up, I find myself switching to a little bit more of that electric red color. But if you guys were ever wondering, why the heck would I throw red? There's nothing in the water that looks red. Well, a lot of your crawfish are actually turning red. Now there is, you know, different variety of crawfish, but in general, in my local area, especially like the Penns Creek, if you guys are locals here, you guys know where I'm talking. That color from Rapala is an absolute killer. I do have a couple other baits here I do want to mention. You guys seen this one already? Oh, I got this all hooked up. You guys seen this one already? The old lipless crank. That's an absolute killer. The way I usually work this is I cast out there, let it sink, especially in cold water, and just, I mean, yo-yo it, but extremely slow. Again, everybody knows cold water fishing, these fish are lethargic. They do not want to move very fast, so you don't want a bait that's moving too fast. But lipless cranks, they can be extremely deadly. I definitely do not burn them across any type of pebble flats or anything this time of year, just because the fish are slowing down. Another bait that I find myself throwing quite often, especially in some of my local smaller lakes, is just a red spinnerbait. A lot of guys underestimate the power of red in the early spring. Now, I don't fish this in the winter as much, but as soon as that water, hits that 45 to 46 range, somewhere in there, just breaking out the old red and orange spinnerbait can be absolutely deadly. I've seen a couple of my friends catch some absolute big uns on a red and orange spinnerbait. So when it comes to later in the winter, very early spring, keep that in mind. That's an absolute killer. One bait that I definitely have quite a bit of confidence in is a blade bait. Now, blade baits in general, as a general rule of thumb, are a cold water bait. A lot of people, fish these in the cold water, and I'm no different. I definitely fish these in the cold water a lot, just for the simple fact that you don't have to move them very fast to get the action out of the bait. So again, this is almost like a lipless. The only difference between this and a lipless is these have a lot finessier approach to them. I usually end up fishing that on a spinning rod and just hopping it, yo-yoing it off the bottom, like I said before, just pulling it up till you feel a vibration, and then it falls. The biggest difference between this and a lipless crankbait, is most liplesses, if that's even a word, have rattles in them. And sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times, when the water cools down and these fish get finicky, things that are just making an absolute racket down there can spook them. It can spook them to the point where they just swim away from it, or they are actually scared and they just absolutely bolt out of there. But just going along, a little bit more of a finesse approach, just going along with a blade bait can absolutely kill fish in the winter and early spring. Another thing that a lipless can really help you out with is forward-facing sonar fishing in deeper water. These baits bring back a return on your sonar that is very strong. If you're struggling, seeing some of your soft plastics or some of your different baits on your forward-facing sonar, a hard chunk of metal will come back really well on your screen. You're gonna be able to see that very well. I do have a couple soft plastics I did want to mention to you guys if you guys are looking for wintertime baits out there that you might not have heard of or might not have tried yet. If you guys go back a few videos, I will post a link to it somewhere here. If you guys go back, I did post a Ned rig video, my top I think 2 or 3 Ned baits out there. These kind of coincide with those, so if you guys are looking for a complete tutorial on my favorite Ned rig systems and baits and heads and all that, you can head over there and check out that video. But I will say, the baby goat in where these fire crawl, they on the Susquehanna River, they really catch a lot of fish. I love their profile. I'll break one out here and you guys can take a look at it. They do have a split tail on them. Now that one did bust. They're actually tied together in the package. When I pulled it out, it popped it. But in the winter, I find myself actually keeping that little tie on those tails together. And that actually minimizes some of the action on the bait. Again, when you're fishing in the winter, you're looking to slow everything down because everything in your local body of water is slowing down because the water is absolutely, cold. It is very cold, and naturally everything in that ecosystem is slowing down. So keeping those little flapper tails pinned together, it minimizes some of that action, so they don't just go berserk down there and spook away all your fish. I do have one more that is not Z-Man. It is actually the Berkley Little Super Trooper. Yes, the Little Super Trooper. They do have a red tinge to them. They have, like I said, there's so many different colors options out there, but there is that little guy right there, has that red tinge on the belly. They catch fish like crazy in cold water. So if you guys are looking for some smaller soft plastics, some finessier stuff, go over and pick you up a couple packets of those. You will not be sorry. They will catch you fish like you wouldn't believe. So if you guys are in the market for some of those finesse style soft plastics, you can find all the links down in the description. Like I said, those are some of my confidence baits out there. When it comes to soft plastics, they absolutely, they do it for me. They get it done for me. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys took a little bit away from this with some of your late season or early season, depending, which way you want to look at it with the new year and everything. But some of your cold water fishing. Cold water fishing, I put out videos before about cold water fishing, but cold water fishing can be extremely frustrating. It also can be some of the most rewarding fishing you have all year, just for the simple fact that you have a chance to catch one of the biggest bass of your lifetime. But it can be a grind. Like I said, central Pennsylvania, we are experiencing cold nights, mid-20s right now, which is actually really weird because usually right now we have ice. Some of those southern states, I will say I wish that I had, 45-degree nights. I wish I had 30-degree nights. We are cold up here. But here soon we are going to be getting on some of the open water access points of the Susquehanna River. I'm super excited to get back out on open water. With some of that cold weather that really came through, froze up a little bit of the stuff, and then also with the rain that came through kind of washed it all away, and we had an excess of water and everything was chocolate milk for quite a while. The river was, I think it was like 7 or 8 feet high, so it was a little bit challenging for me to get out in the water. And then some of our smaller local lakes were frozen, had slush on them, so I could not get out on them to ice fish or to open water fish. But either way, we have some open water now, so I'm going to be trying to get out on that water and try to catch some fish for you guys and pump out some videos, because I know I've been missing fishing. Another thing, if you guys are looking to get into the giveaway that is going on right now for the Cast King Royal Legend Elite Reel, you guys can go over to this video and follow the instructions, and you guys can be a part of that. It ends on the 20th, so make sure you guys get on that and get qualified for the giveaway, because there's a free reel going to somebody and you could be one of them. But thank you so much for watching. God bless and have a great day. We will catch you guys on the next episode.